As whenever he hit our casters, I am. Hey, gotta get fisticuffs between my two analysts. But lovely to hear from King, especially the renewed situation. I just feel like there's so much more confidence coming out from this guy in his play, but as well as the way he's carrying himself, being able to have a lot of LCS time and experience, using his previous time in that. I think that's super huge to hear the insight behind how King is approaching this whole situation there, Magical.
I mean, yeah, last split, I think was a bit rocky, a bit unfortunate for him, and I like his attitude towards it. It's like, yeah, it happened, but here he is. He's gotten more time to practice. He's gotten LCS stage experience, and now he's ready to kick some major tail here in Academy. Trying to make sure I'm being more PG today, but yeah, I think that he's someone that I'm expecting great things, and we see that he has that level of confidence with Destiny, and like you said, it feels like they never were apart.
Yeah, he feels a lot happier too, just like listening to him talk in the screen or in the interview, right? And just seeing the attitude of players and the emotional health that they have is actually like really important. That's why a lot of teams have invested in sports psychologists and the like. And we can tell that King, when he feels himself, he plays better. And I feel like that's something that has really been infectious for the rest of Cloud9. Him coming down, they've instantly started looking good. They were able to take down 100 Thieves, who we knew were very strong. They took a game off of Team Liquid, who has speedrun a lot of the rest of the Academy competition. So seeing this roster and saying that he thinks he can win the whole thing, I think it's still possible, right? They're currently my second favorites behind Team Liquid, but that doesn't mean that they're that far behind. Shh, don't watch King.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't watch.
Caster bias.
All the caster bias here, but hey, Cloud9 Academy came out with the stomping 2-0 victory over 100 Thieves Academy in our first series of the day. Now we got to get to our second series of the day, CLG Academy versus Evil Geniuses Academy. This one's going to be a fun one. Evil Geniuses trying to find a bounce back. Where's the evil? Who's got the plan? Somebody's got to have it. They just need to find it at this point, and especially across the table, CLG Academy, they're getting their roster together. Everything's kind of falling into pieces, or into place, rather.
Not quite that.
Yeah, not into pieces. But CLG as a whole roster, right? Like, you're starting to see why these pieces to the puzzle were picked up in the first place, right? Like Jenkins having such great performances, Triple popping off in the mid lane, Rosethorn, even if he is a sub, still having some strong performances himself, Joshi.
Yeah, and we know that this is a roster that has opportunities to play really well. We're still waiting for their jungler Kevy to come in from Oceania to finish all of his visa issues so that he can play for us. But in the meantime, one of their other pieces recently came in and had an interview yesterday, and Meech has been looking at super phenomenal. We've been seeing that he has a ton of defensive abilities to play, and as he starts to reconfigure his ability to play with the team, we know that he can be aggressive as well.
And as we talked about at the beginning of the day, too, with Breezy, it feels like Meech and Breezy just click. Breezy has so much confidence and so much faith in Meech that he's able to do what he does best, which is roam around the map, try to play elsewhere to try to put other elements of teams behind.
And on the other side, you look at the Evil Geniuses roster, no slouches in their own right, sticking with the majority of the roster, except for Smoothie coming in there. But in their own right, having some trials and tribulations to go through in this early start of the split. And I think especially looking at their communication and their decision-making is the biggest pain point for me, Joshi.
Yeah, and we were already knowing that when Smoothie came in, the Evil Geniuses, this roster, this organization, the Academy roster has been a little rocky for a while, right? We're looking for them to kind of find the rock that they can actually like stand around, and all of their players are a little bit more chaotic. We're looking at players like Cowrie, who, depending on whether or not he's feeling good that day, can look like the best player in the league or kind of be invisible. Surdy as well was known for having a bit of a flipping reputation in spring. We're kind of seeing a little bit more of that here in the summer, and the most consistent player I think that we've seen so far has been Saligo, but
yes,
well, he had a really strong week 2 and he's had some decent results in week 3. He's not necessarily the number one player I'm looking at to always carry them. He's typically more of a defensive and like a secondary carry kind of player.
And that carry potential goes a little bit flippy to Surdy in the top lane for Evil Geniuses Academy, and you get to see some of those pop-off moments here, Magical.
Well, you get to see the pop-off moments. You also get to see Saligo and how he sets up a lot of this stuff. That's where they tend to look really strong, but Surdy is a player that we expected to be coin flipping. We expected great things of him as well. His highs are incredibly high, like the ceiling couldn't be higher, but his lows have been kind of like right there. Gets a solo kill despite a 2v1, which is great. But you really should on tenacity, but you kind of should as Malphite into Tryndamere, especially before level 6.
Hey,
Yeah, getting a solo kill is like the kind of thing like that's on Tryndamere. But I feel like the big thing is I know what's kind of going on in kind of these players' heads. When you don't feel as though the rest of your team is going to be in a good spot and you kind of get into this like negative spiral, you end up in a spot where a lot of players are like kind of desperate. They try and look for wild things in order to try and find a lead so that they can carry the game. And as you look for wilder and wilder things, you kind of get in this feedback circle of, well, that didn't work. I guess I have to try and outplay them even harder next time. And I feel like we're in that position for Evil Geniuses where they just need to find another win in order to get themselves back on track.
Yeah, and the wins will come, I'm sure, as the team continues to try to gel, continues to try to figure out how best to utilize their weapons in Surdy and as well as Cowrie in the bottom lane. But Meech on the other side, speaking of weaponry, the weaponry looking real strong. Yeah, I know. Firepower, you got old Sibbity Sam out there. Everything's looking real good, Joshi.
Yeah, we know that Meech is looking a lot stronger than he has historically, and now that he's coming in for CLG, we're getting to understand a little bit more about how he's going to be playing in the upcoming weeks. But for now, as you already touched on Magical, he looks really strong alongside Breezy. This is just a pair that looks ready to go for plays.
And that's, I think, why I'm so excited with CLG. Even if you can make the argument their whole team isn't completed, Rosethorn was a part of the first seeded team last split. He's still a very good top lane, good jungler, and now they've got the confidence in the spot lane with Breezy and Meech just popping off, fighting against even the quote-unquote the bot lane with cheat codes, being able to take it to them, which is a rarity to see. They have that much confidence in one another, and they can play that great style of League of Legends because they also have the hands to do so.
That's what I want to talk about is the hands, man. Just little excerpts of plays from Meech. You can see this guy's got mechanics, man. Like the kiting, the spacing in these team fights that you're seeing has been really impressive, and I think that's where you see the level up in Meech. But again, back to this tried and true conversation of Academy, it's still about development, it's still about growth. This guy's a new player, and you still have such a high ceiling for players like Meech coming into the season.
Yeah, and I feel like when we're looking at this, it kind of reminds me of Copy almost in a sense, right? We historically, it's a lot smaller in the bottom lane than the mid lane where you don't have to play as many hats, but we see that he plays both mobile and immobile carries to a lot of success.
He does indeed. We'll see how that success pans out, though. Champ Select is ready for our final series of the day. So, Magical, Joshi, take it away.
Alrighty, let's get into this. Down to business for the final series on the Path to LCS stream. Remember, there's more action on twitch.tv/academy. But we gotta watch this one. Evil Geniuses Academy struggling at the onset of the season. They've had a couple 1-1s that have gotten them the 4 wins in total. They haven't been able to capitalize fully on this star-studded roster that we expected great things from. It almost looks like it's a repeat of how the spring split went for them, where even if they have these great players, this great talented roster, they're just falling short of those expectations.
So we'll continue to keep track of where Evil Geniuses ends up landing, but I kind of want to get into this champion select a little bit more. We'll talk more about Surdy and Meech as the game starts to unfold. We are seeing this top lane, I feel, has always been an interesting one, right? Because Jenkins, one of my favorite players, he saw some LCS time, now got replaced here by Dokla. I can have more than one,
Now
really
you're starting to sound like Mazel. You're starting to sound like Mazel with all your favorites all over the place.
I do have a lot of favorites. Philip is also one of my favorites. But Jenkins is one of these players that I have had a little bit more history with, and during his time on Team Liquid, he used to play a lot of these AP top laners, and we're seeing that continue to be true. He's been playing the Gwen, the Kennen, Akali, Vladimir, right? He's the kind of player who provides a lot of magic damage coming from the top lane and puts a lot of pressure on players like Triple to either adapt to it and play something like a Yone, or do what we've been seeing from Triple and just like, yeah, that's okay, we'll just bring a lot of magic damage this game.
The thing with Triple, too, is we know what he's capable of, all these different styles, all these different champions. But, ooh, this is a very interesting draft already because the Fiora band away from Surdy left open Zeri. And the immediate lock-in of Yumi and Wukong, that is a good wombo combo already set up by CLG Academy.
They're two very good champions. Yumi still has a 100% win rate unless it's already lost on twitch.tv/academy today. 6 games thus far, winning every single one of them. 3 Destiny games, 2 Joey games, 1 JJ game, and now Breezy adding himself to that category. But it's also denial away from Smoothie, right? I was actually watching Smoothie play this champion in Champions Queue last night, and, you know, seem to be having a time. But it's the kind of thing where...
Wait a minute, I'm feeling like there's a little animosity towards the kitty cat.
I hate Yumi. I hate
do?
Yumi. It's such a dumb character.
If you want to make Yumi fun, build lethality.
If all of my Yumi opponents started building lethality, I would like Yumi a lot better.
Alright, that's fair, but it works with what has already been drafted. It's a really good duo with the Wukong.
Okay,
And
so
looking
goes
on
Tia.
the other side, I actually like this a lot too from Evil Geniuses. There's a lot of potential to deny the engage potential on the side of CLG. You have great level 6 assistance for the spot lane where it is pretty safe with Zeri and Lulu to back it up, and
Ooh.
that now is a crazy. I mean, that's not crazy. We've seen Twitch a couple times, but it is a crazy throwing down on the gauntlet here with the Twitch and Yumi.
This is the kind of thing that feels exploitative, right? If you feel like Harry and Smoothie are underperforming and you can attack them as Meech and Breezy, this is a great lane to do it. Because if you get 1 kill, you get 2 kills, suddenly Meech and Breezy win the game. I've seen this in so many solo queue games. We've seen it sometimes on this stage as well. So you have not just 1 good Yumi carry, you have 2 of them. And it's kind of difficult for Zeri and Lulu to punish it early on in the game. Yon and Ayla have done it in not exactly this matchup, but very similar styles. But not a lot of bottom lanes have been as successful in their early game aggression with Zeri.
But I will say, you know, this is just more of a vague, all around kind of assessment of the drafts that we've seen today. I kind of like this patch so far because we're seeing a lot more ability to play stuff that's more unique. Playing the Twitches, I'm sure Zeri is pretty powerful right now. We're seeing the Volibear bans towards Tomio. We know that that's one of his powerful picks alongside Armeo. You're getting all these champions out of the woodworks that only a couple players are really confident at playing, and they each have at least one champion that is nearly entirely unique to them.
Yeah, we actually have, you know, we have a couple outliers in terms of things that have been incredibly popular in Wukong and Viego as being picked 43 and 39 times before today actually started. And the next closest was like 29, and that is Renata, right, who is also very popular. So we actually have a ton of champions that are currently seeing play, and it's very awesome to see that CLG also going to be getting on the Talia hype train. It's only lost 1 game so far, but it's got an 80% win rate, and now Triple trying to add himself to that in order to control and match Saligo's roaming.
Well, especially if you can play like Pretty did yesterday on that Talia mid. 14-0-14. Absolutely outstanding scoreline at the end of the day. But looking at what Evil Geniuses are drafting into it, the Camille picked for Surdy and possibly Xin Xiao. We've seen that a couple times, especially out of Tomio, despite the fact that a lot of people argue that Xin Xiao is nowhere near as powerful as he was before.
Yeah, it is going to be the 2nd time that Zinja hasn't played, and the 2nd time by Tomio so far in summer. And it does provide some kind of safety, right? Because Twitch doesn't really want to stand on top of you.
It's the cannon!
It's the cannon!
It's not just the
magic damage top lanes!
It's Jenkins!
It's Jenkins!
It's Jenkins!
Cannon!
Cannon! And what's funny is having talked to him, like doing some interviews too, he was talking about how he's kind of had to get used to Kennen again because they fixed a bug where his W range was actually extended, and so he's had to get used to that all over again. But he is well renowned for this Kennen pick. That's why I had to just interrupt you and got so excited because it's Jenkins Kennen into Surdy's Camille. This top lane matchup has 2 players on champions that they are more than comfortable on.
Yeah, and Surdy, I was a little bit surprised when he said he thought he was the best Camille in North America, but the stats, you know, they're looking pretty good, right?
He's good
Despite being still in the academy scene, we've seen that he's consistently outperforming almost everybody else in solo queue, and he still rocks like an 80% win rate on this champion throughout all of his time. He does a 60 to 70% win rate with it in Champions queue. You know he's very confident on this champion, and that's what Evil Geniuses are going to be relying on as they go into Jenkins, one of our better top laners, on one of his best champions.
Looking at the compositions and what both teams provide one another as we load up onto the Rift for our first game in our final series on the Path to LCS stream between Evil Geniuses Academy and CLG Academy, I'm looking at how squishy both sides of the map are. When you have something like Kennen in the top lane, while it provides a lot of damage, a lot of burst
First
potential.
strike.
Oh, and first strike too. Combat against 30, you're still fairly susceptible to getting dove on and blown up.
Victor, it reminds me of like real rats and mice, right? You see, you walk over and instantly the scurry away. Nah! So Jenkins got to make sure he gets out of there. It does start with the E though for
Wait a
the
minute.
extra attack speed.
Wait a minute. I just realized that CLG have like the zoo composition. They've got a mouse, they've got a rat, they've got a cat, they've got a monkey. Only one
got a
that's
human.
not. Yeah, well, I was going to say the only one that's not is Talia. But then again, what other animal do we have as a champion?
Bears.
Dog. Bear was
Dogs.
bad.
Goats.
We could have had Nasus mid lane. Go full AP Nasus mid.
Yes, that was the first one that came to mind for me as well.
Yeah, totally
It definitely
normal.
wasn't Azir or Vel'Koz.
Vel'Koz is not an animal.
He's a
He is
squid?
a void creature.
Are we really trying to argue then that Yordles are mice?
I mean, they're more of mice than
This is-
Vel'Koz is a squid.
This is Yordle erasure, and we will not stand for it. But Jenkins,
Oh, hey, look, he's a little doctor over there. He's not even he's like a chipmunk, more like.
oh my gosh, this is getting worse and worse for Jenkins. Jenkins, we love your character. It's a good time, but
I mean, he's more like a chipmunk, is it not?
no.
You're just saying that because you know I'm right. Anyways, on to what's happening. Bot lane, getting a little bit of trade of damage back and forth. This matchup, I feel like, is just as volatile as the top lane matchup. The only one that I don't think is too volatile is going to be that mid lane. The Twisted Fate versus Talia, only because I don't expect them to want to fight one another. I expect them to want to clear out their waves and try to make plays elsewhere.
Well, I mean, these characters have a lot of similarities in the way that they actually try and like play out the lane, right? They both have, very consistent crowd control. Triple has the E into the seismic shove, which has the slow, which makes it, you kind of have to flash it. And then Sligo with the gold card. That means that while you're not necessarily going to be finding your advantage on your own, you're going to be a very good target for gank assist. You have Triple trying to set up for Rosethorn, you have Sligo trying to set up for Tomio, and if you have two champions or two compositions that do likely the same thing, the person who's ahead gets to win.
That is true. And at the moment, pretty even, which is expected. I also am looking at the compositions, and correct me if I'm wrong, but CLG's composition feels like it is a mid-game skirmish composition that is great when it has all the pieces connected with one another, and they can utilize that power because they have so much AoE control. I know you got a little excited there. I was watching that as too with bated breath. But I just want to kind of dig down deep into what both teams' composition provide for each stage of the game.
Yeah, I actually think that we're less likely to see the same kind of like lining up and team fighting that has kind of become the norm for a lot of squads in Academy. It definitely feels like the kind of game where you are going to be relying on Meech going, ha ha ha, it's me! Or just around the map.
Surprise! Yeah, as you can tell, I could do a very good Twitch impression.
Yeah, it was honestly the best.
Surprise!
You are the best rat. But
Yeah, I know.
I actually watched like almost this exact game in a champ. Okay. All right, he's fine.
Okay, yeah, he's fine. He was just playing with fire there. Now, man, this bot lane is volatile. I was talking about it before, and it keeps coming true each time we look down to the bot lane. Even when you look at what is in the inventories of both bot lane, having the long sword versus that Doran's ring for Meech, which is actually pretty typical of Twitch bot lanes to get that extra burst of damage early into the game.
Yeah. I mean, the Doran's Blade doesn't do you a whole lot of good. The Omnivamp isn't super strong, but we do know that he kind of has to transition into a more physical damage build just because you already have Kennen and Talia on your team. But
it's a Doran's ring. It doesn't cost very much, and it's going to provide you enough assistance in the lane. So that's why I'm saying it's pretty typical.
yeah, it's very normal. You also get like a ton of extra mana just based on the fact that your passive has a damage over time, and you just get to use it because of the way that the new Doran's Blade or Doran's Ring actually works. But I was gonna say, I actually watched almost this exact like group of champions in a game that Smoothie was playing last night in Champions Queue, right? They had the Twitch and the Yumi, they had the Camille and the Twisted Fate and the Talia, and they were running around trying to just beat each other up, and that's why I'm kind of saying I'm expecting this game to look relatively chaotic, but it's going to be a controlled chaos from both sides of the map. You're looking for picks. Triple and Sligo both trying to find overman fights in the side. Meech and Breeze are going to pop out and go, hello, it's me. You don't have a chance to do anything. Surdy is going to be mostly followed by Tomio or Smoothie to make sure that it's never really a one-on-one catch. And so with all this chaos coming through, it is going to be an opportunity for these two teams to showcase how strong their vision control game can be.
At the moment, it's looking like it's EG favored. They've got some pretty deep vision into CLG's jungle. Know that Rosethorn has to be on the top side of the map since they haven't spotted him on the bottom half for some time. Giving him that knowledge helps Tomio know where to go. That's why he's hanging around towards the top side of the map, not only because his camps are there, but just in case Surdy's in danger.
Yeah, and Surdy is taking a bit of a pounding in terms of the amount of range damage he is taking from Jenkins, but he's got a good CS lead, right? Both of these characters are very well known by their players. Kennen was the first thing, right? When I was casting Team Liquid, Jenkins comes in after when he was a trash talker. He still is, but Triple.
I know. Say what you're going to say really quick. I think he's fine because he does have Cleanse and Flash. So right there with the red card, kind of just hitting him a bit, but not really going to have that full engage. So what were you talking about with Jenkins and Kennen?
Oh, Jenkins had the trash talker. As soon as he beat up whatever team it was back in the day, he just comes back and he's like, yeah, you just got to ban my Kennen. Shrugs, walks off screen, and that was the entire interview.
Nope. That's about right.
And then later it was like, yeah, I guess you also got it at my Aatrox. Walks off, end of interview. Right? Like, that's just the kind of guy he is.
It's funny because the Aatrox I don't remember as much as I do the Kennen and Gangplank from Jenkins. Like, those champions I know he is incredible on. So, here in the Aatrox, I mean, that had to have been right after the rework of Aatrox, right?
Yeah, he used to be, when he was playing alongside Armeo, right? They used to be the players that would just manufacture these team fights kind of out of nowhere later on in the game. And it's the kind of thing where he has so much control over whether or not CLG will have good team fights on this cannon, on things like the Aatrox. And now he's paired up with Rosethorn, who's kind of been a little bit quieter than we remember him in spring.
Yeah, not really doing too much at the moment. Kind of falling behind Tomio, too. Tomio's got a bit of an experience lead over him. And look at bot lane. Tomio, first face shown into the spot lane. It's hard to get on top of a Twitch when he goes camouflage, runs away. You have to start out the fight before Tomio shows. Otherwise, you're just not going to catch him.
Yeah. And as we look at this game, as Triple walks away from the gold card here in just a moment, we'll get back to it because we have both junglers showing up.
From lane to lane, but this time, like you said, Rosethorn is in the vicinity to be able to back up Triple just in case Tomio tries to dive underneath that brush, but instead, just forcing the minions towards the turret, trying to help out, get a recall for Sligo.
Yeah. So we're halfway to 15, kind of. It's rounding. We also have to note that the way that these two teams have historically played so far during this first couple of weeks, Evil Geniuses, they've actually had an abysmal early 15 minutes so far. They've actually been down 1,400 gold by the time they hit the 15-minute mark, whereas CLG has been up 1,800 at the same time. So CLG, this is relatively quiet from them. Their lanes aren't just blowing things open, and we're going to see if they can try and find a fight here.
Well, they're looking for the fight on Tomio as he got the Rift Herald, uses the Crescent Strike to try to get away from the Cyclone, but here comes Jenkins. The Slicing Maelstrom gets Tomio pretty far away, but it's all to make sure they can split up Saligo, but Saligo took down the Monkey King while Triple has to deal with two members. They got the kill on the backline onto Jenkins, and it will be smoothly traded, but not only do you get the Rift Herald, but you get 2 kills for Evil Geniuses.
And we get to see Tomio picking the Zinjo and paying off with it, right? Not everybody's able to get in range. Jenkins flashes over the wall, only to die, falling into Surdy, and Surdy crashes a massive wave, gets himself at least 1 plate here, and because he expended almost nothing for that play, 2 plates, an assist, and denying so much experience, this is a absolute massacre coming through for the Evil Geniuses top side.
And honestly, I expected it to be the other way around. I thought Tomio was caught out, that they could kill him quickly enough, but Saligo Smoothie were perfectly placed to save him.
Yeah, Jenkins picks the wrong side of the fight in order to try and go. The rest of his team were not able to follow him up the river, and Meech and Breezy just a little bit too late. So Evil Geniuses, they're able to walk away, and this is a big confidence boost for them. They've been typically down super far at this point in the game, but up 1,000 gold, up 2 kills to 1. Surdy with a huge opportunity to just build the Hex Drinker. If Evil Geniuses can just calm down and play the rest of this game out, I think they can actually find a win here.
Plus, they have that Rift Herald still on Tomio. You can easily pump the eye, say bot lane, say top lane, just dependent on which lane he wants to try to snowball and get ahead. I would expect the bot lane, because they've already got one neutral objective, might as well look for the second one in that dragon.
Yeah, they have it. They want to make sure that Kauri and Smoothie can find their leads. As long as Meech and Breezy don't find that first kill, it's very difficult for Twitch and Yuumi to get off the ground. So, Kauri and Smoothie, they've done a decent job finding a small advantage, keeping Meech and Breezy in the lane, and now they're trying to gank them.
Sneaky, sneaky, spotted out. Nice ward was placed down beforehand by Meech to make sure they had vision, but with the control wards controlling the vision around this dragon, only thing denying the potential take underneath the nose of CLG is that Scuttle Crab. Should be spotted out, though, smoothly. There it is. Now he's going to be spotted out, so they know they're on top of this dragon.
Triple has the Weaver's Wall, but Rosethorn's already on the far side of the map.
Yeah.
So Evil Genius is picking up not just the Rift Herald, but also going to be grabbing the Dragon before CLG can respond. And Rosethorn still looking for his way into the game. He's been trying to farm things out, but he hasn't been able to find any successful ganks. His only assist was around the Rift Herald that Evil Genius has started.
Yeah, and he died. I think it was First Blood that went over to the side of Evil Geniuses off the back of killing Rosethorn. So he's been put pretty far behind against the Xin Zhao, who has his spike right around now. Xin Zhao with Gore Drinker is going to be brutal to deal with, because you're not going to be able to kill him nearly as easily as you had in the earlier moments.
Yeah, so the player that I'm really looking at right now is Triple to try and find some advantages for the side of CLG. He's been one of the people who has had a lot of experience in Oceania before he came over to North America. He played on Mammoth for a long time. I think he was actually on the same squad that we were looking at with King and Destiny earlier on. And right now, he's the person on CLG who actually has a lead to potentially try and roam more than Sligo can.
And with Triple forcing Sligo underneath the turret, so that way it's all a little bit more difficult for him to pop Destiny Gate and rotate it around the map. It is a good showing for Triple. It does allow him a bit more time to try to see if he can set up a play around any of these side lanes, because right now, they kind of need some help. Even looking at Jenkins in the top lane, he might be even in CS, but as this Kennen, you want to join in these team fights. You need to be a part of something a bit more, and you're just not able to break this lane against 30.
Yeah, I mean, we never knew Jenkins as like a super lane dominant top laner, right? He was always like going to be going even in top lane and then looking for fights a little bit later on. But Tomio also showing himself on the bottom side. Rosethorn is here to try and match, and Triple
Awkward.
trying to build up enough priority to move down.
Trying to, at least, but with Ghost there for Sligo, he can easily rotate just as quickly as Triple can. So despite being pushed underneath the turret, with the Rift Herald in the bot lane popped a bit early, should still get the crash and get a lot of gold into the pocket of Kauri.
Yeah, Kauri getting most of the gold. Tomio can't avoid it because he did drop the Herald, but Meech is just going to clean up the wave, get a couple of plates over. And so, the small lead for Evil Geniuses, it feels, again, like they're not doing anything special, right? This is how they found their games previously. They weren't necessarily doing anything super exciting. They were just playing stock standard League of Legends, and the thing that we'll pay attention to is whether Surdy or Jenkins can find a bigger flank later on.
Because they have good skirmishing potential, and as you talked about, it's an unorthodox team fight. Lots of surprises, lots of flanks from many of the members of CLG, but they work really well together as one whole unit. Now Smoothie getting chased down by Mage. He had to flash away, has the wild growth still available if need be.
I forgot that skin has wings. Right, whenever the Yuumi is like actually ulting, but Sligo finding Triple.
Oh, gold card, and look at Tomio. He's booking it with the Everfrost. It forces out the cleanse of Triple. Triple now has the seismic shove to knock away Tomio so he can survive. Nietzsche and Breezy were there just in case Sligo Tomio tried to overextend.
It's me.
It's me, but right now they've got the tower. There's no seismic shove that connected that time around. Sligo and Tomio will negate any pressure that Meech and Breezy might have had.
It's the second or third time we've seen Meech try and come up towards the mid lane with no success thus far. They unloaded the ultimate trying to find Smoothie, and Smoothie's just able to flash away. This chaos that CLG were trying to create with their composition just hasn't come about, and as the bottom lane turret falls, Evil Geniuses, remember their average gold at 15 was down 1,400. Now they're up 2.5.
Nice lead for them here at 15 minutes with the Dragon and possibly a second Rift Herald in the game. Rosethorn is right now getting run around in circles by Tomio. Tomio has every advantage here, and he's only gotten the 1 kill, 1 assist, all from that previous play way long ago.
Yeah. This is really unusual for Evil Geniuses, right? They are consistently down. They are only getting first tower in about 35% of their games. They tend to be down several turrets at this point, and they've won every single time that they were ahead at 15 minutes. And so I feel like Evil Geniuses, they've calmed down. This is kind of the version I was expecting, and they just need to make sure that Meech doesn't find any opportunities, that the chaos from Jenkins won't come out, and the double rat composition just gets stifled, and they're playing much slower and more confidently than we've seen them in the past.
But this is what we knew EG were capable of. We knew from the get-go that this is a team capable of high highs and low lows. They're playing a lot more calm, collected, all with one another, making these plays. It's a great showing from Evil Geniuses to show that they're getting the synergy back as a squad.
Yeah, and pulling Rosethorn up towards the top lane, immediately allowing everybody on Evil Geniuses to rotate down. They're going to be picking up the second dragon here, probably in just a moment, as soon as Smoothie and Kaori are in position. And CLG, they're trying to rotate, but they're just too far behind.
They're a couple minutes behind. They don't have those windows to be able to capitalize over Evil Geniuses because they have the conviction to actually go for the objective. They got 2 Rift Heralds in the game, looking for the second dragon, as Sligo is just defending, making sure Gold Card will connect and make sure they cannot have any fight back, even forcing out the decoy early, so that way they can secure the second dragon of the game.
I love this version of Evil Geniuses that we're seeing. Now, the question is going to be, is it going to be enough? Because this can still happen.
Yeah, Kaori forced to flash away, but look at me. She's playing aggressively, looking for the kill, but Saligo shutting down the gravy train early with the fight coming in from CLG, but it's too late. They've lost Twitch. The rat is gone, and without the rat, without that, they have no damage.
The rat with the cat not able to find the first kill in the game. They get so close, but Kaori's has the Immortal Shield build already completed, and that just means that CLG, they're not able to get a decisive teamfight win. Triple still looking for kills.
And looking to see if they can get Sligo. They got the shutdown, but Surdy got a lot of damage on Rosethorn. Has to be careful because Jenkins now selecting on top of him underneath the turret, dodging away with the ultimatum, but it's still a kill nonetheless. Breezy, the cat, makes sure that that is where they have some gold.
Okay, the controlled chaos from CLG starting to fire back, but Evil Geniuses, remember, they've won every time they've been ahead at 15. They have a small lead still. There are 2 dragons to 0. And Surdy, he tries to find a flank, but, you know, going straight on a little bit more difficult when Jenkins teleports right on in. So this might be the closest game as we start rocking into the mid game that we've seen in quite a while. All the people that we were expecting to be really strong for CLG in terms of Jenkins and Meech, they haven't quite gotten it. And instead, it's going to be Triple, the Oceanic representative to multiple MSIs and worlds alongside King, suddenly needs to take control.
See, it's what you had even asked from the beginning, right? You had said this is one of the players that CLG can rely on. They could fall back onto Triple, even making sure that Meech is now set up to look for an easy dive on Smoothie.
There we go.
And the cat on the rat strikes back.
They finally find their first kill. Meech and Breezy now on the board. Their ability to go for assassinations has suddenly increased hugely, and Rosethorn has his ultimate.
Hey, that's going to be a nice pick on a Kaori.
That's 2.
He thought he's safe because he had the tower, but those are 2 big pivotal picks for the side of CLG. Not only should they be able to take down this tier 1 turret mid lane, but they can rotate around and see if they can punish Saligo while he's pushed way too far out. Even with the Destiny Gate, it's interrupted by Triple's Rampage.
Oh man, this is looking so much like the Champions Queue game I was watching yet again. Smoothie was playing the Yuumi in that game. He was alongside the Twitch, but the chaos is starting to erupt. CLG blowing up the map out of nowhere. They lose the top lane turret to Saligo's push, but Surdy still down here on the bottom side, and CLG, when they can create this kind of chaos, when Twitch can go wherever they want and flash under turrets, that's the recipe for success, and the Rift Herald gets dropped in their own base.
Yeah, it feels like it was timing out for Evil Geniuses after losing both bot laners into the mid lane to a nice play by CLG. They're forced on the back foot. They had the advantage, but suddenly slipping down to 1,000 behind the side of CLG, so it is not as easy of a time for them to try to combat against that of CLG. Evil Geniuses are honestly just behind on the back foot.
So as the Rift Herald does still get its crash off CLG, they control the mid lane turret still. That gives them the priority for them to actually play for the upcoming Dragons. And that's one of the big things that CLG can do. Even though we said they weren't necessarily going to line up and team fight, they still have an advantage, right? It's the opportunity cost. You are still going to be able to force Evil Geniuses to come fight you. And Evil Geniuses, they're not bad at team fighting per se. They have a lot of ways to mitigate all the range advantages with the Xin Zhao and the Camille looking for the flanks. But you're going into multiple of these really big circles. Not the inhibitors, I'm talking about the cannon ultimates.
That's more of like an octagon.
It's you're crazy, you're wild and
Oh, well,
okay, here's all.
Might be a pick. Oh, but the seismic shove from Triple. He's unstoppable, and he is saving this game for CLG to re-engage. And there goes Jenkins. The Octagon lock it in. Smoothie. They've got a kill on Deserty with Smoothie soon to fall on a different rat this time. Jenkins makes sure they can take down one more, chasing away Cowrie and even looking for Tomio.
Look, Alex, we're going to have to go back to geometry for you. Hextech Ultimatum is a hexagon, but now they're trying to find Tomio.
Maelstrom.
That's not an octagon either!
Well,
oh
too
my gosh.
bad. They got the kills, and now they're on the Baron.
This one, the Texan Bullroar, they're going to pick that one up, and they're still in a good time to do it, right? Surdy is still dead. CLG, they might want to spend, but they can also just go right on over. Meech and Breezy hiding in the shadows, preventing Evil Geniuses from doing it.
And with this sudden influx of gold, with the Baron on top of CLG, 5-0-3 triple. This is, at the moment for CLG, just a big shift. It was already starting to slowly claw back towards them, but it's all off the back of triple setup.
Yeah, Triple, great job immediately getting the seismic shot, preventing Celigo from having any impact on the game. And this is the thing that we were looking at, right? There's so much control coming in from CLG. They have Talia to create zones where you can't dash. Jenkins has a stun to prevent you from coming in. And Meech, as long as he can free hit, if he's only getting attacked by Surdy on this Camille, he's going to be able to win that duel every time because he's got a cat on his back.
And I'm kind of looking at CLG and how they're able to get a lot of disadvantages because it really did look like Evil Geniuses had everything working for them. They had the lead at 15. Josh, what's happened?
I don't know. They were 100% prior to this, but so now Tomio is going to get caught out.
He has the flash, still alive, but with a prowling projectile connecting, at least Tomio survives getting back towards his team.
So, still the flash is blown. There's a teleport for Celigo.
Oh, this could be a big pick. If they can get the kill on a triple, that's a lot of shutdown. But he still escapes with his life. And look at where Meech, Rosethorn, and Breezy all are. They could threaten to collapse, but instead, they're playing it safely. They're looking for other plays across the map.
Yeah, this is the really dangerous part. If you're someone like Carry or Smoothie or Celigo, actually literally everybody except maybe Tomio on Evil Geniuses, and you are alone, you are a prime target for Meech and Breezy to start attacking. And this is where CLG, they're trying to take control of a lot of the vision. And as long as they can do that, if they can get their designated objective hitter in Meech to actually walk up to these turrets, they will slowly find advantages again. And Meech, sneaky, sneaky.
He's very sneaky, except for when he's not, because he's in mid lane, fully on vision, with all the advantages CLG have carved out for themselves. Now they are aggressing on two lanes at the same time. Top lane is pushed back towards them, but slowly it will start going in their favor. They're utilizing the Baron to at least take the two outer turrets right there in mid lane and looking for bot lane afterwards.
So as they control this, it becomes incredibly dangerous for Evil Geniuses. They have one get out of jail free card, right? Celigo can use the Destiny in order to find where people are. And, oh, this is dangerous. Rosethorn's coming for a flank.
Well, look at how low the turret is. CLG have these advantages. They have pretty much this entire quadrant of the map securely in their control. top side, there is a little bit of vision by Evil Geniuses for potentially counteracting a Baron in 3 minutes, but that's a long time away to rely on that. And with how far CLG have been able to push that last Baron to now get themselves a 6,000 gold lead, just shy of 25 minutes into the game, at this rate, I don't know what Evil Geniuses can do to claw themselves back in.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough, right? You are forcing yourself to divide your resistances. We see that Sturdy committed himself to the Moth while Mortis, likely to try and split push going up against Jenkins. But he's not been able to. Jenkins has been like, yeah, you split push there, I'll split push over here. We'll see who's a little bit faster. Triple can wave clear up against it. It's part of why Triple 503 is also up 70 CS. He controlled Soligo super well in the early mid game. And now he just gets to farm wherever he goes because Sturdy can't really threaten him. Soligo's not going to threaten him. Kauri and Smoothie need to be in the same place at the same time.
And poor Tomio can't even take his own blue buff. Rosethorn hanging around that entire time. A slow start for Rosethorn as well. It was not what we expected going into this match, trying to really be proactive, contain Tomio. It seemed that Tomio, Soligo, they were the ones with all the advantages, and these great fights around Triple, utilizing this mid laner, this Oceanic mid laner who's had great success in the past for victory has been huge. And now without him having to use the Weaver's Wall to make sure he gets into the fight, they've got the stun on the one side with Jenkins cut off with the Weaver's Wall. They need to be able to take that down if they want to be able to rejoin the fight. Look at Soligo. He's not part of this. They've got the ultimatum and the killing spree for Meech to fall onto Kauri, who jumped into the Baron pit, and he's getting chased down. The Rat is ready. He's without a cat because he don't need it. He's got a double kill over Evil Geniuses.
And now they're trying to chase down Tomio. They already found 2 kills. CLG are going to just absolutely run over this mid-game Evil Geniuses. I was so excited. They were playing the early game so controlled, so consistently in what they were looking for. But now CLG, it feels like it's Jenkins and Triple and Meech who have all suddenly come alive all of a sudden in this game, right? Triple 605. He's threatening. He's almost halfway to where Purdy was.
Almost.
And I feel like that's kind of ridiculous to say, like, oh, he's almost halfway to our record setter, because it's an insane record, 14-0-14. But Triple still controlling the fight so well with the Weaver's Wall.
And with that control, they have everything that they could possibly imagine. With a dragon spawning here in just a couple seconds, that'll be their second one of the game, more so denying any sort of soul point potential that Evil Geniuses could have to maybe claw themselves back in the game. At this rate, CLG are just playing the paint-by-numbers League of Legends, playing everything right, wisely, not looking to overextend, looking to see it instead if they can catch members of Evil Geniuses out of position.
Yeah, and with all these turrets down, they can kind of go wherever they want. Meech goes for another sneaky sneak, and he's looking for people, right? He knows that Soligo is pushed very far out. There's probably a couple people around here trying to make sure that he's safe. He finds Tomio.
Tomio just uses the blast cone right there to get over the wall back towards Soligo and Smoothie. Well, as you kind of were calling out, Baron is up. CLG have control, and as they push more and more of that vision into enemy territory, trying to see if they can at least contain Tomio now in this game, they could easily then peel back after they've gotten the control for Baron.
Yeah, they cleared out the ward that has been the plague of so many teams right outside the pit. And so, Evil Geniuses, they don't know, and they are pinging towards the turret, saying, we don't want to go over.
I think it's too late. Even with Tomio on the other side, he's got to pull off a miracle, and he could not do it. That is Evil Geniuses falling right at the finish line. They tried to claw back the game with a miracle play, but CLG are on top of it all.
So Evil Geniuses, man, this is such a rough one, right? For their mental, we were already looking like they just need to find one win in order to get themselves back on track. They get a mid lane turret and an objective bounty, but that's just an indication of how far behind they are. I don't know if they're going to see another turret the rest of the game, as CLG, they're looking to try and end it on this push. If anybody on Evil Geniuses gets caught outside of their base, the game will end instantly.
Well, with the 4-1 setup at the moment, CLG more than capable of doing so. Soligo is on the sideline trying to push back one turret, maybe getting a little bit of control of one lane. But as you kind of mentioned, what good is that going to do to you when CLG are hunting for victory?
Okay.
They just want to take this game.
Well, CLG at least get to, or Evil Geniuses get to see another turret. They get to go sightseeing up in the top lane, but they got to be able to defend their base, and we're seeing pings from both sides. I feel like CLG can start to look just for a dive here, and they're already looking for it on the bottom side.
Already looking to set up the turret take itself, getting one inhibitor structure deleted. Even looking at CLGA, who got one turret back to the team, they're just, wait a minute, are they just fully all-inning for the split push? That's going to be the recall's attempt that Jenkins should be able to get back. Surdy is actually going to crack one of the turrets, though, with how low it is. He can take it easily, despite Jenkins being right underfoot.
Okay, but the question is going to be, Jenkins can still teleport towards the rest of the base, and does Surdy even live here? That could still end the game.
That could, with the shield coming through from the Hex Drinker. He is forced out by Jenkins, getting chased away while a second inhibitor will fall. This time it's the mid lane. Triple make sure they secure that advantage with 2 lanes of super minions now pushing into Evil Genius's base. It's CLG, like we already talked about, still firmly in control and looking to end this game.
And as they start to go top lane, right, Jenkins with the early back, yes, the turret is gone, but CLG are now putting another wave in the perfect spot. They still got 40 seconds left of the Baron, and Evil Geniuses can't even move out of their lane. They can't move out of their base. You see CLGA desperately trying to prevent these waves from crashing, and Zinjo is forced to do Raptors at this point in time while they lose a top lane turret. The game has gone from bad to worse.
That is a fat minion wave stack too, top lane. There's very little chance I think they even can stop them from just taking the structure with Surdy getting caught off on the other side. He could hookshot over the wall, but it is at the cost of the turret itself and possibly the inhibitor. It will be double super minions in every lane now pouring into Evil Genius's space, and they've got to hope for a miracle against CLG, who've gotten everything to work out well since the 20-minute mark. They've gained a firm foothold of this game with super minions pouring in. They're threatening the Nexus turrets.
Evil Geniuses, they will hold for now, but that's a very small victory, right? To say that they are going to be able to do much there. Down 8,000 gold, 3 inhibitors are gone. So CLG, we saw this wake up, right? Jenkins, not the greatest laner in the world. He's not going to be super dominant there, but he found some team fights. Triple was able to set him up with Weaver's Walls, and Meech, while it took him a long time to find that first kill, he hasn't looked back. 5, 1, and 3, has 4 items completed, got one of my favorite builds going on with a Titanic Hydra, so he's not just doing damage to one target, he's splashing across the entire team.
It is pretty much the Zeri build of old that we used to see. Sans the Trinity Force, right? Where we saw that was the build that you'd go for. It gives you a little bit more tankiness, but the wave clear is absolutely insane. Meech, level 16 on Twitch. Almost full build, just missing that one item. He can play this aggressively because nobody can stop him. He's a rat with a cat on his back, so they can strike underneath the turrets and take down Evil Geniuses with already 2 members deleted, well, one of them at least, and the other one's back at their base. They don't know where Meech is. He's spotted on vision from the turret, but they can just try to dive, get collected kills underneath the Nexus turrets while Meech is stuck in the ultimatum. It is still CLG's game. Meech is dominating on Twitch. This game has been over since the 19-minute mark, and CLG will take down Evil Geniuses in the first game.
That's a tough one, right? We were looking at it. We were seeing some early advantages coming through from the side of Evil Geniuses, right? We saw CLGA find a couple of early kills, but after that, they just weren't able to find anything. There were a couple attempts to split pushing. Surdy was able to find a couple of structures. He found a bot lane one, he found a top lane one, CLGA found another one top side, but they never really were able to set up for any of these dragons. They were never able to set up for team fights, and the flanks that we were hoping Surdy to go for never materialized. And so CLG, again, a very standard game, a little bit chaotic because of the introduction of the Twitch and the Taliyah, but that's exactly how you're supposed to play that composition.
Well, to me, what's wild, too, is the fact that the early game seemed so heavily favored to Evil Geniuses. I thought that was their game to win. But CLG, great plays, especially around triples Taliyah, nets them game 1 victory over Evil Geniuses. We're going to toss a break when we come back. Lennon, our host, will be back for our halftime show. Make sure you stay tuned.